Okay, so get this right. Imagine like being able to ask questions to your database about, stuff that hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah.
It'd be like having like a data crystal ball or something. And that's kind of what we're going to dive into today with this GenSQL thing.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah, GenSQL, really fascinating concept, actually.
it is
It
at
kind of sits at, I guess you could say at the intersection of what they call generative models
Mhm.
and the whole world of databases that, we all work with every day.
right generative models. And I know that might sound a little intimidating maybe,
Yeah.
but stick with me on this,
Okay.
okay? Think of it like your Netflix, and you're trying to figure out what movies to recommend to people, right?
Yeah.
Generative model can like analyze what everybody's watched in the past,
Right.
and then based on those patterns, actually generate suggestions for movies that they haven't seen yet, but that they're likely to enjoy.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
I thought so.
And what makes GenSQL so powerful is it takes these really smart AI models, and it lets you interact with them using an extended version of SQL,
Right.
which is of course the language that most databases already use.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
instead of just like looking at the data that we already have,
Yeah.
GenSQL lets us kind of ask those what if questions, uncover like hidden patterns, and even create whole new data sets based on what the model predicts.
Exactly. It's like going from using a basic calculator to having a supercomputer for all your data.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got these generative models that are working behind the scenes.
Yeah.
GenSQL is our way of like talking to them, right?
Right.
But how does it actually work? What's going on under the hood?
So the brilliance of GenSQL, I think, is that it builds on the existing structure of SQL that we're already familiar with,
Okay.
but it adds a few key elements that really kind of unlock the power of it.
Okay, let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
What are these like magical elements that make GenSQL so special?
Well, one of the most important ones is the generate under clause.
Okay.
And this is where you tell GenSQL, which model to use and
Yeah.
how much data you want, and then
Right.
magic, it creates synthetic data based on the model's predictions.
Hold on. So we're not just like analyzing existing data here.
Yeah.
We're actually like creating brand new data
Yeah.
based on what the model thinks is likely to happen.
Precisely. It's almost like having a data genie at your command.
Oh, wow.
You make a wish, and then GenSQL grants it by generating data that fits the model's understanding of the world.
That's incredible. But what if we want to like explore specific scenarios or put some limits on the data that's being generated?
That's where the given clause comes in.
Okay.
Let's say you're studying the effects of a certain drug on patients.
Right.
You can use given to say, okay, well, show me what the data would look like if all the patients were also on this other medication.
Right.
So it lets you set up very specific conditions for the model to work within.
So it's like running a simulated experiment
Yeah,
right inside your database.
exactly.
So we can like explore all these different what if scenarios without actually having to like conduct real world trials or anything.
Exactly. And what's even more impressive is that you can combine this synthetic data with your real world data using something called a generative join.
A generative what now?
Generative join.
Okay.
Think of it this way: you've got a database with real patient information,
Right.
and then you use GenSQL to generate synthetic data about potential future health outcomes, based on their current condition. With a generative join, you can combine those two data sets to get a much richer and more nuanced view of the situation.
Wow. So we're not just like creating this new data.
Yeah.
We're like weaving it together with our existing information
Mhm.
to create this incredibly detailed like tapestry.
Yes,
This is starting to feel really powerful.
it is.
Yeah.
And to cap it all off, there's the probability of clause.
Oh, okay.
And this is where you can ask GenSQL to tell you how likely a specific event is, based on the model's predictions.
So it's like asking the model, hey, based on everything you know, how likely is it that this will happen?
Exactly, and
Right.
that can be incredibly valuable for uncovering hidden patterns or potential anomalies that that you might not have even even considered before.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be like a total game changer.
Yeah.
Before we get too carried away,
Yeah.
let's bring it back down to earth for a second. Can you give us like a real world example of how GenSQL is actually being used? Like I need something concrete.
Sure.
You know, to wrap my head around all this potential.
Absolutely. One really interesting case study involves using GenSQL to detect anomalies in clinical trials.
Okay, so we're talking about medical research here. Tell me more.
In this particular study, they were looking at data from a COVID-19 trial.
Right.
And GenSQL was able to flag some potentially mislabeled information by looking at the patient's BMIs.
Yep.
It noticed some entries that seemed very unlikely given given the patient's reported health habits.
Wait, so the model was smart enough to say, like, hold on, something doesn't add up here.
Yeah.
This BMI doesn't quite fit with what else we know about this patient.
Yes. It was able to find a group of participants who were clinically obese, but they also reported exercising regularly and having excellent overall health. So that discrepancy, kind of raised a red flag.
Yeah.
And it prompted the researchers to take a closer look.
Wow, so GenSQL isn't just like creating data.
Right.
It's also helping us to like spot potential errors or inconsistencies in the data that we already have.
Exactly. It gives us this powerful new lens for looking at our data and finding those those subtle patterns that traditional methods might miss.
I see.
Yeah. It really kind of helps us go beyond just looking at those surface level trends and start asking those deeper questions about our data.
You know, it's funny we talk about data science all the time,
Right.
but this feels more like data artistry almost.
Yeah.
We're using these tools to like create something totally new.
Yeah.
To like reveal hidden stories within the data.
I love that analogy. And one of the most remarkable things about GenSQL, I think, is that it manages to do all this while still being incredibly user-friendly.
Okay, now that's something I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
Because like all this talk of generative models and new SQL clauses and all that, it sounds pretty complex, right?
It can be. Yeah.
How accessible is this really for somebody who's not like a coding whiz,
That's the beauty of it. GenSQL is designed with accessibility in mind. It's built upon that familiar foundation of SQL.
Right.
So anybody who's comfortable with with basic database queries can pick it up fairly easily.
So it's like adding a powerful new set of tools to your existing data toolkit, I guess.
Exactly.
You don't have to like learn a whole new language.
You're right.
Or go back to school for computer science or something.
Exactly. And a lot of that user friendliness comes from something called the abstract model interface, or AMI.
Okay, AMI.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Okay.
What makes that so special?
Well, you see, generative models can be built using a variety of different programming languages, right? Which can make things awfully complicated if you're trying to use them with a traditional database.
Right.
But the AMI acts like a universal translator, if you will. It allows GenSQL to communicate seamlessly with models created in any of those languages.
So it's like having a universal adapter, I guess, for all your data science work.
Right.
You can like plug in any generative model, regardless of how it was built, and GenSQL knows how to talk to it.
Exactly. And this opens up a whole world of possibilities.
Yeah.
Because it means you're not limited to just using models that you've created yourself.
Right.
You can tap into this vast ecosystem of pre-built models.
Right.
Each with its own unique capabilities.
That's incredible. It's like having access to this whole library of data generating superpowers.
Yeah.
Ready to be unleashed on your toughest problems.
And it's not just about the ease of use on the front end either.
Okay.
GenSQL also takes care of a lot of the heavy lifting behind the scenes, if you will.
Right.
It handles all those complex probabilistic computations and optimizations.
Oh man.
To make sure that your queries run run smoothly
Right.
and
Yeah.
efficiently.
So it's like having like a whole team of expert data engineers working working tirelessly in the background to make sure everything runs without a hitch.
Precisely. And the results, they speak for themselves.
Yeah.
We've already seen how GenSQL can outperform other approaches in a variety of tasks, right? From anomaly detection to generating complex synthetic data sets.
You mentioned earlier a case study involving clinical trials.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other examples of how GenSQL is being used to kind of solve real world problems?
Absolutely. Another fascinating application is in the field of synthetic biology.
Oh wow.
Researchers are they're using GenSQL to build what they call virtual wet labs.
Virtual wet labs. That sounds intriguing.
It is.
What exactly does that even mean?
Well, you see, in traditional biology, you conduct your experiments in a physical lab, right?
Right.
With your test tubes and petri dishes and all that.
Yeah.
But with GenSQL, you can actually create a simulated lab environment entirely within your database.
So it's like having a digital playground, I guess, for scientific exploration.
Exactly. In one study, researchers used GenSQL to generate synthetic data about gene expression in bacteria.
Wow.
This allowed them to explore the effects of genetic modifications and environmental changes,
Right. Yeah.
without having to actually conduct those expensive and time-consuming real-world experiments.
Wow. So it's not just about like making existing experiments like easier or faster.
Yeah, right.
It's about opening up
Yeah.
like entirely new avenues for research and exploration.
Exactly. And what's really exciting is that in this particular case, GenSQL actually outperforms some of the more traditional methods for generating synthetic data.
Really?
It was able to capture those complexities of this biological system in a way that other approaches just simply couldn't match.
So it's not just like convenient.
Right.
It's actually more powerful.
Yes.
And more effective than the alternatives.
Exactly. And that's what makes GenSQL so transformative. It's not just an incremental improvement.
Right.
It's a fundamental shift in how we think about and interact with data.
Okay, I'm sold. Like GenSQL is clearly a powerful tool.
Yeah.
But let's step back for a moment and think about the bigger picture, right?
Right.
What does all this mean for the average person? Like, why should somebody who's not a scientist or a data analyst, care about GenSQL?
That's a great question, and
Yeah.
I think the answer lies in the potential of GenSQL to unlock insights and solutions that were previously hidden from us.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure.
How could GenSQL impact somebody's everyday life?
Well, imagine you're a city planner, right?
Okay.
And you're trying to improve traffic flow.
Right.
Traditionally, you might rely on historical data about traffic patterns to make decisions. But with GenSQL, you could generate synthetic data that takes into account all sorts of factors,
Yeah.
right? Population growth, new construction, even the impact of self-driving cars.
So you're not just looking at like what's happened in the past.
No.
You're using GenSQL to like simulate
Yes.
the future and make like more informed decisions.
Exactly, and that same principle can be applied to countless other domains.
Right.
Whether you're a business owner trying to optimize your supply chain, or a healthcare provider trying to personalize patient care.
Right.
GenSQL gives you that ability to explore a vast range of possibilities and make better data-driven decisions.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could have like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Across so many different aspects of our lives.
It really can.
It's not just about data. It's about using data to like improve our world.
That's the heart of it, and I think that's that's what makes GenSQL so compelling. It's a tool that empowers us to understand our world more deeply and to create a better future.
This really does feel like we're we're on the cusp of something truly groundbreaking here.
Yeah, I agree. GenSQL has that potential to really democratize access to these powerful AI techniques and make them available to a much wider audience.
And that's what excites me the most about all this. It's not just about giving data scientists new tools, whatever. It's about empowering everyday people to ask those bigger, bolder questions. And find solutions that that we couldn't even imagine before.
Exactly. And the applications are practically limitless, right?
Yeah.
We've touched on a few examples. But this technology can really be applied to any field where data plays a role.
So whether you're a researcher trying to cure diseases or a business leader trying to make better decisions, or just somebody who's curious about the world.
Right.
GenSQL has something to offer.
Precisely. It's a tool for anyone who wants to unlock those hidden stories, within data.
Yeah.
And use those insights to really shape the future.
It's funny. We started this whole deep dive by talking about GenSQL as a data-powered crystal ball. But it's more than just predicting the future.
Wow.
It's about understanding the present in a deeper, more nuanced way, I guess.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, GenSQL gives us this incredible ability to see the world through this this new lens, to connect the dots and reveal patterns that were previously hidden from view.
And with that newfound understanding, I guess, comes the power to make those more informed decisions, right?
Right.
To solve those complex problems, and ultimately to create a better world.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
GenSQL is a powerful testament to the potential of human ingenuity and the transformative power of data.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a challenge.
A challenge.
So I want you to think about those impossible questions.
Yeah. Okay.
The questions that have always lingered in the back of your mind, the ones that seemed too big, or too complex to even contemplate.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Now imagine, right? Imagine having the power of GenSQL at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to generate that synthetic data, right? Explore those countless scenarios and uncover those insights that were previously out of reach.
It's like opening up a whole new universe of possibilities.
Exactly. So what questions would you ask? What problems would you try to solve? What kind of future would you create? Because with GenSQL, the only limit is your imagination.